I'm the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So recently, the orcs and the tyranids had a bit of a dust-up kind of thing on this rubble-strewn planet. There's eldar on this planet as well, and they've kind of heard about the tyranids, and they want to come make sure they don't go any further. We'll do that today. These are Necron hexmark destroyers. These things are beasts. They can teleport in. They've got an 18-inch range on their guns. They're pistol 2, which definitely, no, what are they, like pistol 6, I think? Yeah, they're pistol 6. And if they kill stuff, then they get to shoot again. It's super awesome. They really do just kick ass. I love Necrons so much. So this is the table that we'll be playing on today. Just another rubble-strewn kind of place. So we'll meet the Eldar first, and then the Tyranids. Alright, so this is the entirety of my Eldar. I like throwing the entirety of things against other things. It's just fun. So we have a Farseer who knows Executioner and Fortune. Yeah. 2 Warlocks. They're not a conclave. They just like to hang out together. Between them, they know Enhance and Protect. And then a Spirit Seer. I forgot what I gave this one, so we're just going to go with Smite. 5 Wraithblades. A Wraith Lord with an Eldari Missile Launcher, a Bright Lance, and a Ghost Glaive. 2 groups of 3 Wind Riders with Shuriken Cannons. 2 groups of 5 Dire Avengers. A 10-man group of Guardian Defenders with a heavy support platform thingy, whatever that is. And then the Wraith Knight with a Sun Cannon, Star Cannon, Shuriken Cannon, and a heavy Wraith Cannon. Yeah. So all of these Eldar are going to fight an equal amount of Tyranids. So we'll meet those guys. Alright, so we have here the Tyranid force that the Eldar are going to try and wipe out today. We have a Broodlord who knows Catalyst and Onslaught, I think. Tyrannifex. 12 Termagants with Devourers. They also have Toxin Sacks. 2 10-man groups of Pomegrantes that have the Adrenal Glands and Toxin Sacks. 10 Gargoyles. And then 3 10-man and 1 9-man groups of Gene Stealers. These also all have Toxin Sacks. If it can choose Toxin Sacks, it does. And I think that's true for one of these 2. It has Toxin Sacks, maybe. Either way, there's a lot of those because Toxin Sacks just ruin everything. Kind of like the focus on this camera. So I think there's 1 power level less of Tyranids than there are Eldar, so it should be a good game. I'll reset up the board, I'll roll for deployment, and we'll start the happiness. Alright, so the Eldar won their deployment rolls, so they decided to take this side. So we got the Wraith Knight, the Wind Riders, the Guardian Defenders, one of the Dire Avengers with the Warlocks behind them, the Wraithblades, the Wraith Lord, the Spirit Seer with them, the other Dire Avengers, Farseer, and the Wind Rider. So the Tyranids automatically get this end then. So the Termagants, the Broodlord, the Gargoyles, the Hormagaunts behind there, the Tyrannifex, and the other Hormagaunts. And because they've got the Vanguard deployment where they can deploy more than 9 inches away from the enemy or their deployment zone, the 4 Gene Stealer squads have all started up here behind these little, I don't know, feature things. And because the possibility was that they could steal if they rolled a 6, the Tyranids did indeed steal. So we're going to start the first round with tyranids. Turn 1. Movement. Alright, so all of these gene stealers have just moved forward. And everything else just advanced forward. All of these guys got pretty far. So that'll take us to the psychic phase. The Broodlord's the only one that has psychic powers. And he's not really close enough to anything to really affect anything. So that would take us to the shooting phase. The Termagants and the Gargoyles are the only ones that have guns. And they're too far away. So that'll take us to the charge phase, which will be these gene stealers into this close group of dire Avengers, and these gene stealers into the other group of dire Avengers. Alright, so charge phase, fight phase. That was a scene of utter devastation. So somehow, amazingly enough, both squads of gene stealers made it in. The squad that used to be here actually managed to kill off 2 of their gene stealers in Overwatch, but then they died. And these guys didn't kill anything in Overwatch and died. So yeah, that was super nutty. No squad's alive, per se, so no need for morale. So yeah, that'll be the end of the Tyranid turn. So we'll go to the Eldar turn, and it's looking pretty bad already, and it's just only the beginning of their turn. Movement. Well, with the Tyranid successful steal of the first turn, my original plan for the Eldar army has been thrown completely away. So the Wind Riders moved forward, and the Wraith Lord just moved up. That's literally all that moved on this side. So psychic phase. There's a lot of gene stealers close by for the smiting. So one of these warlocks smote these gene stealers, killing 3 of them, and the other one cast Protect on the Guardian Defenders, giving them a +1 to their saving throws until the next psychic phase. The Spirit Seer cast Smite on the Gene Stealers, killing 3 here. So the Farseer did Executioner and Smite, which managed to kill 3 of these guys. So the Eldar shooting phase. Gonna be lots of shots here, I believe. Alright, so these Wind Riders killed a whole lot of these Gene Stealers. Between the Wraith Lord, the Spirit Seer, and the Farseer, they killed all but 1 of these Gene Stealers. The Guardian Defenders completely destroyed all of the Gene Stealers that were here. And these Wind Riders, with some help with the Wraith Knight, killed 5 of these guys. The Wraith Knight also managed to do 3 whole points of damage to the Tyrannifex. But yeah, that was it. So the charge phase, it's going to be the Wraith Lord into that lonely little Gene Stealer right there. Yeah, the Wraith Lord successfully made it in and did pretty much kill it really, really well. Nothing really else. Well, no, those guys already passed their morale somehow. Oh yeah, they rolled a 1. So that'll make it to Tyranid turn. Movement. So pretty much the same as last time, where the Gene Stealers just moved forward. And over there, and then everything else just advanced really far. In the case of these Tyranids, they went 17 inches. That's pretty far. Termagants are slow for whatever reason, so they're kind of lagging behind with the Broodlord. The Psychic phase, Broodlord's the only Psyker out here for the Tyranids. There's really nothing. There's no need to cast Onslaught on these guys. So, yeah. I guess I'll make it the shooting phase. 8 of these gargoyles are actually in range of these wind riders, so we're going to shoot them. The gargoyles managed to kill 2 of the wind riders. Weird, crazy stuff. So the charge phase, these gene stealers are definitely going to charge into this last wind rider. And these gene stealers over here are going to charge into this group of wind riders. Charge and fight phase. So both groups of gene stealers made their charge. These guys escaped unscathed and just killed the single guy that was here. These guys actually lost 3 in Overwatch and did just enough damage to kill the 3 wind riders that were over here. So that was kind of sad. It's starting to feel like a desperate defense for the Eldar side. It's the Eldar's turn, so not entirely sure how much movement there's going to be. As I'm looking at it, I'm going to go with no movement. Psychics, definitely going to do some psychic stuff. So the Spirit Seer actually managed to get the big D6 smite off, which just wiped out these gene stealers here. And one of these warlocks cast Protect on these guardian defenders, giving them a +1 to their saving throws. Yeah, that's pretty much it for psychic phase. Shooting phase, though, this will be a happy phase. So after doing some measuring, I probably should have moved some of these guys because most everybody was actually out of shooting range. The Wraith Lord missed everything he shot at. The Wraith Knight, on the other hand, killed off the Gene Stealers that were over here. Did 5 damage to the tyranids. And killed off 4 of these gargoyles. So, he did some decent work. Unfortunately, nobody's close enough to charge, so it goes over to the Tyranid turn. Movement. So the Broodlord and the Termagants have advanced forward and are still pretty far behind. The Gargoyles and Hormagaunts and the far Hormagaunts over there all moved forward. The Tyranids also advanced. Still not really helpful, too far away for a psychic at this point. It's 3 inches out of range to do smite. No need to do onslaught because too far away from the Tyranids. So that'll take it to the shooting phase. The gargoyles are the only ones with guns within range, so they're going to shoot. And maybe even hit things. Alright, so gargoyles can't shoot. They failed to hit anything at all. Charge phase, though. The gargoyles are going to charge into the Wraith Lord. And these Hormagaunts are going to charge into these Wraith Blades here. Charging and fighting. So in a weird, strange twist, the dice favored the gargoyles and not the Hormagaunts. The gargoyles made it in. They didn't do any damage to the Wraith Lord. The Wraith Lord killed one of them in Overwatch, and then killed 2 more with his Ghost Glaive. So that'll take us to the Eldar turn. For movement. Actually gonna have to move some guys so that we can shoot. Alright, so a bunch of the Eldar decided they wanted to move, so the Farseer came up here a little bit. Wraith Blades moved up a little bit. The Spirit Seer just kind of tried to stay between the Wraith Lord and the Wraith Blades. The Guardian Defenders moved up by the terrain there, and the Warlocks just followed behind them. The Wraith Knight's probably not going to move. He's got a crappy save, so he doesn't want to be in combat. Psychic phase. Yeah, there will definitely be some psychic stuff going on here. So the Spirit Seer smoked one of these gargoyles and killed it. The Farseer was unable to manifest Executioner, but he manifested Smite and killed the remaining ones that were here. One of these warlocks tried to cast Smite on these Hormagaunts and failed, and the other one cast Protect on the Guardian Defenders, giving them a +1 to their saving throws until the next turn. Considering how close that Tyrannifex is, that's probably a good thing. So, Eldar shooting. People are in range, so they actually can shoot now. So the Guardian Defenders killed 3 of these Hormagaunts. And the Wraith Knight got the Tyrannifex down to 2 health. I wish I'd have been able to kill it, but it got down to 2, so that's super bracketed, which is better than nothing. Charge phase for the Eldar. The Wraith Blades are for sure charging into these Hormagaunts. The Wraith Blades made their charge and killed all of the Hormagaunts, which might be a tide-turning moment for here. There's not as many tyranids out here as there were a couple turns ago. And there's definitely still enough to be a hassle. That'll make it the Tyranid turn, so movement. So these Termagants advanced to get kind of even with the Broodlord who just moved up. The Tyrannifex has scooted over with an eye on these Wraith Blades. And the Hormagaunts are completely ignoring the Wraith Knight to come after these Guardian Defenders. The Broodlord finally is in range to do some psychic power. He's going to smite somebody. The Broodlord does get his smite off, and the Wraithblades are the closest enemy. He manages to kill one of them. That's not helpful for me. Shooting phase. So the Termagants here are the only ones left with a gun. So they're going to shoot at the Farseer. Alright, well, all of those Termagants managed to do 1 point of damage to the Farseer. So the charge phase. These Hormagaunts are going to charge into the Defenders here. The Tyrannifex is going to charge into the Wraith Blades. And these Termagants are going to charge into the Farseer. I guess the Broodlord will try and charge into the Wraith Lord here. So these guys didn't make their charge, but these guys didn't hit a single thing in Overwatch. The Tyrannifex made its charge, but because it's super wounded, it didn't make any of its hit rolls. But these guys killed it back. So, and the Hormagaunts made it in. They suffered 1 loss to Overwatch, but then just annihilated all of these defenders that were here. So they're all dead now. So that'll make it the Eldar turn. Movement. Alright, so the Farseer is just going to hang out. The Wraith Lord moved up. These Wraith Blades moved over closer to the Hormagaunts. The Spirit Seer advanced up so that he could still have that 6-inch bubble between the Wraith Blades and the Wraith Lord. The Warlocks have moved up closer to these Hormagaunts. The Wraith Knight is just going to hang out here. So the Psychic phase. That was a whole lot of successful smiting. With Executioner and Smiting, the Farseer killed 5 of these Termagants. The Spirit Seer did Smite on the Broodlord, doing a point of damage to it. And these 2 Warlocks managed to get both of their Smites off. One of them got the really big Smite, so between the 2 of them, they killed off 6 of the Hormagaunts. Things are starting to look up for the Eldar. I was super worried earlier, but I'm not as worried now. Eldar shooting then. So the Wraith Knight killed 3 of these Termagants and 1 of these Hormagaunts. The Wraith Lord himself killed the Broodlord. That was super weird. charge phase. So the Farseer and the Wraith Lord are going to charge into these Termagants. And the Wraith Blades and both Warlocks are going to charge into these two remaining Hormagaunts. So both of these guys made their charges. They didn't suffer any damage in Overwatch. The Farseer killed two of the Termagants, and the Wraith Lord just finished them off. Neither of the Warlocks made their charge roll, which was super crazy. But the Wraith Blades made theirs, and they just wiped the Hormagaunts out. So yeah, for the end of this one, the Eldar win, but they got severely hurt for the process. The only thing that survived were their HQs and their Wraith construct things. Tyranids are really, really, really brutal. That toxin sac thing just destroys units. Just messes them up real, real bad. I am enjoying playing with the Tyranids because they do indeed just murder things so happily. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you watching. I'm getting a lot closer to that 200 subscriber thing, so there's that. Probably will do something special for it. I just am not 100% sure what yet. Probably should figure it out since I'm only 5 away. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day.